Welcome back. In this module, we are going to see the file structures. Today, technology is enhanced to store huge amounts of data, but traditional file structures provide many tools which are used as the base for today's database and the data mining systems. The principles of these traditional file structures are discussed here in detail. These structures actually represent the historical beginning of data storage and retrieval systems from which current database technology has evolved. Many of the techniques developed for these structures like indexing and hashing are used as the important tools in the construction of today's large complex databases. However, some applications dealing with simple and small data sets are file-oriented approaches even today. Data storage. Data processing deals with operations on data. These operations are defined on different levels which lead to the data storage hierarchy of data processing. The 6 levels used in this hierarchy are depicted in the following figure. The bit is the smallest item of data and a combination of multiple related bits is called a character or byte. A field is a combination of multiple related characters. It is a meaningful collection of related characters and is the smallest logical data entity treated as a single unit in data processing. A combination of different related fields is referred to as a record. Multiple records are combined to form a file. Each record in a file is identified by a key field which contains unique values for every record in the field. A database is an integration of multiple related files. In databases, redundancy is reduced. It is a collection of logically related data elements from multiple files. File-oriented approach. In this approach, an application's data is organized into one or more files and the application program processes the data stored in these files to generate desired output. A master file of permanent data and transaction files of temporary data are used here. For example, in a payroll application, master file contains all permanent details of each employee such as name, address, code, pay rate, tax paid to date, total gross pay to date, income tax rate, etc. Transaction payroll file contains details of hours worked this month, normal working hours, overtime hours, quantity of goods made, etc. Both of these files are used to generate this month's pay slips and master file will be updated. File management system. In a file-oriented approach, a set of programs called File Management System or FMS provides facilities to organize, create, delete, update and manipulate the files. A file management system typically supports different types of files such as transaction file, master file, output file, report file and a backup file, etc. We will see each one of these. Transaction files. A transaction file stores input data temporarily until it can be processed. Master file. A master file contains all current data relevant to an application. The data stored in it are of more permanent nature. Output file. Some applications use multiple programs for data processing. In such applications, output of one program may be the input of another program. Thus, output generated intermediately must be stored and output files are used for this purpose. This output file is accessed by the later program in the application. Report file. The report file is used to hold a copy of the report whenever desired. Report file has advantages over paper documents because files are easier to store and carry. Backup file. It is a copy of a file used as a precaution against loss of data due to corruption or accidental deletion of original file. Backup files should be created regularly. Sequential files. A sequential file is a type of file that is accessed in sequential order or in serial order from the beginning to the end. the information in the file is arranged in a long row. Audio files, video files, files containing programs are examples for sequential files. Most of the files created by a typical personal computer user are sequential files. Text files are sequential files in which each logical record is a single symbol encoded using ASCII or Unicode. The only requirement to construct an elaborate sequential file is to establish a uniform format for representing the information about each entity as a string of text. Then the information is enclosed according to that format and then stores the resulting records one after the other as one single string of text. For example, a student file can be constructed by agreeing to enter each student record as a string of 31 characters consisting of a field of 20 characters for name, followed by a field of 6 characters to represent the student register number, followed by a field of 2 characters to represent the grade and 3 characters to represent the rank. The final file would be a long string of encoded characters in which each 31 character block represents the information about a single student. Information would be retrieved from the file in terms of logical records consisting of 31 character blocks. Within each of these blocks, individual fields would be identified according to the uniform format with which the blocks were constructed. File consisting of a sequence of blocks, each containing 31 characters, is given in the figure. The data in a sequential file must be recorded in mass storage in such a way that the sequential nature of the file is preserved. If the storage system is itself sequential like tapes, we need to record the file on the storage medium according to the sequential properties of the medium. Processing the file is the task of merely reading and processing the file's contents in the order in which they are found. In the case of disk storage, the file would be scattered over different sectors that could be retrieved in a variety of orders. To preserve the sequential order, the file manager of the operating system maintains a list of sectors on which the file is stored. The list is stored as a part of the disk directory system. Hence, with the help of this list, the operating system can retrieve the sectors in the proper sequence as though the file were stored sequentially. While processing a sequential file, it is necessary to detect the end of the file is reached. The end of a sequential file is marked as end of file or EOF. There are different methods for identifying the end of file. One method is to place a special record called sentinel at the end of the file. Another method is to use the information in the operating system's directory system to identify the EOF. Since the operating system knows which sectors contain the file, it also knows where the file terminates. An example involving sequential files is payroll processing. Advantages of sequential files: they are simple to understand and use. They are easy to organize and maintain. They need relatively inexpensive I/O media and devices for their storage and processing. They are efficient and economical to use for applications in which activity ratio is high. Disadvantages of sequential files: they are inefficient and uneconomical to use for applications in which activity ratio is low. Their use is limited to batch processing environment because of the need to accumulate transactions in batches. This is to keep the activity ratio high. Sequential processing requires extra overhead of sorting the file before using them for processing. That is, both transaction and master files must be stored in some sequence before processing. Sequential processing often leads to data redundancy problem because the same data may be stored in several files sequenced on different keys. Indexed files: sequential files are used for storing data that will be processed in the order in which the entries are stored. This method is inefficient when the records in the file are to be accessed in an unpredictable order. To identify the location of the required logical record quickly, index is used. Such a file system is called indexed file. The index for a file contains a list of keys stored in the file along with the entries indicating the location of the record containing each key. Hence, to find a particular record, first identify the index and then retrieve the block of information stored at the location associated with that key. A file's index is normally stored as a separate file on the same secondary storage device as the indexed file. The index is transferred to the main memory before file processing begins to easily access the records in the file whenever necessary. The principle of indexed files is similar to that of the index used in a book or hospital entry. That is, the display board at the entrance of a large multi-storied building containing names and room numbers of the occupants is an index that helps to locate a person's room within the building. Or, if we want to read about a particular topic in some books, first we will find out that topic in the index of the book to get the page number, rather than searching for the topic from page 1 and check all the pages until we find the topic. After getting the page number, we will directly turn to that page and start reading. In the indexed file organization, there are two files such as data file and index file. The data file contains the records stored in the file, and index file contains the index key and disk address of each record stored in the data file. Records in the data files can be stored in random sequence, but index keys in the index file are stored as a sorted sequence of index key values. Different variations of the basic index concepts are used in the file system. One of these is to construct the index in a hierarchical manner so that it takes the form of a layered or tree structure. An example is the hierarchical directory system used by many of the operating systems for organizing the file storage. This technique of file management is known as Indexed Sequential Access Method or ISAM. Advantages of indexed sequential files. They can be used efficiently for sequential processing of high activity ratio applications. They can be used efficiently for direct access processing of low activity ratio applications. Disadvantages of sequential files. They require relatively expensive hardware and software resources because they must be stored on a direct access device like disk. They require more storage space than other types of files because additional space is needed for index files. When used for direct access online applications, access to records may be slower than direct files. Hashed files. Even though indexing provides relatively quick access to entries within a data storage structure, it has the expense of index maintenance. A similar technique with less overhead is known as hashing. Like indexed files, hashing allows a record to be located with a key value. But rather than looking up the key in an index file, hashing identifies the location of the record directly from the key. In a hash system, the data storage space is divided into several sections called buckets. A bucket is capable of holding several records. The records are dispersed among the buckets according to some algorithm that converts key value into bucket numbers. This conversion from key values to bucket numbers is called a hash function. Each record is stored in the bucket identified by this process. Thus, a record that has been placed in the storage structure can be retrieved by first applying the hash function to the record's identifying key to determine the appropriate bucket, then retrieving the contents of that bucket and finally searching through the data retrieved for the desired record. Hashing is a technique used to retrieve the data from both mass storage and main memory. When hashing is applied in mass storage, the result is called a hash file, and when applied to a storage structure in main memory, the result is called a hash table. Consider a student file in which each record contains information about a single student. First, we establish several available areas of mass storage that will play the role of buckets. The number and size of buckets are design decisions. Now assume that we have 41 buckets referred to as bucket 0, bucket 1, etc. bucket 40. Suppose student register number is used as the key for identifying a student's record, we have to develop a hash function for converting these keys into bucket numbers. One of the simplest functions is to divide the key by the number of buckets available and record the remainder, in this case a number between 0 and 40. Thus, the remainder of the division identifies one of these 41 buckets. After that, if we need to retrieve a record, just apply the hash function to the record's key to identify the bucket and then search the bucket for the required record. Although hashing function is designed to generate a unique address for each record key value, in practice it sometimes maps the key value of two or more records to same storage address. This phenomenon is called collision. To control the collision, one method is to use a pointer at the address calculated by the hashing function. This pointer points to a linked list of addresses containing physical addresses of all records whose key values map to the address calculated by the hashing function. To obtain an efficient hash system, the records being stored should be distributed evenly among the buckets. If a disproportionate number of keys happen to hash to the same bucket, then a disproportionate number of records will be stored in a single bucket. This is called clustering and it causes the loss of any benefits gained by hashing. In order to reduce the chance of clustering, the storage area can be divided into any prime number of buckets because prime number eliminates the possibility of common factors. Suppose that we have found a hash function that arbitrarily distributes records among 41 buckets and we are going to insert new records one at a time. When the first record is inserted, that will be inserted into an empty bucket. When we insert the next record, only 40 of the 41 buckets are empty. So, the probability that the second record will be placed in an empty bucket is only 40 by 41. Assuming that the second record is placed in an empty bucket, the probability for the third record to be placed in an empty bucket is 39 by 41. The probability that all the first 8 records will be placed in empty buckets is 41 by 41 into 40 by 41 into 39 by 41 etc. into 34 by 41, which is equal to 0.482. That is, it is more likely than not that in distributing records among 41 buckets, a collision will have occurred by the time the 8th record is stored. The high probability of collision indicates that regardless of how well chosen a hash function might be, there is a chance for clustering. It is possible that a bucket might fill up and overflow. One solution to this problem is to allow the buckets to expand in size. Another approach is to allow buckets to spill into an overflow area that has been reserved for that purpose. The occurrence of clustering and overflowing buckets can degrade the performance of a hash file. Research shows that hash files perform well as long as the ratio of the number of records to the total record capacity of the file called the load factor remains below 50%. Thus, a hash storage system is usually reconstructed with a larger capacity if its load factor approaches the 75% value. Advantages of hash files. Given the key, any record can be quickly located and retrieved directly. It does not require transactions to be stored in sequence before processing. It does not require accumulation of transactions in batches before processing them. They are processed whenever generated. It can support interactive online applications needed to provide up-to-the-minute information in response to inquiries from user. If required, it is also possible to process direct file records sequentially. Disadvantages of hash files. They require relatively expensive hardware and software resources because they must be stored on a direct access storage device such as disk. Due to address generation overhead involved, they are less efficient and economical than sequential files for use in sequential application with high activity ratio. They often require special security and access synchronization mechanisms, because online direct files are generally made accessible simultaneously from multiple online stations. The role of the operating system. From the user's point of view, the most important aspect of a file system is the appearance of the files, such as the contents, name, protection mechanisms and operations possible on files. But the files are actually managed by the operating system. The structure, naming, access, use, protection and implementation are done by the operating system. The part of the operating system dealing with files is known as file system. Implementing files. The main issue in the implementation of the file storage is keeping track of which disk block go with which file. Some methods used in different systems are contiguous allocation, linked allocation and inode. Contiguous allocation. In this scheme, each file is stored as a contiguous block of data on the disk. The advantages of this method are to keep track a file's blocks. Only the address of the first block need to be remembered and the entire file can be read from the disk in a single operation. But the difficulties with the allocation are, it is not feasible if the maximum file size is not known at the time the file is created and the wastage of disk space. Linked list allocation. Another method for storing files is to keep each one as a linked list of disk blocks. The first word of each block is used as a pointer to the next one. The remaining block is for data. Unlike contiguous allocation, no space is lost to disk fragmentation and every block can be used in this method. The directory entry needs to store only the disk address of the first block. The amount of data storage in a block is no longer a power of 2 because the pointer takes up some bytes and random access is a slower process. But the disadvantages of linked list allocation can be eliminated by taking the pointer block from each disk block and keeping it in a table or index in memory. Using this organization, the entire block is available for data. It makes the random access much easier. The disadvantage of this method is that the entire table must be in memory all the time. Inode. The next method for keeping track of which blocks belong to which file is to keep with each file a small table called inode or index node, which lists the attributes and disk addresses of the file's blocks. Hence, the operating system has an important role in the creation, opening, closing and accessing of files and directories. In this module, an introduction to the file-oriented approach of data storage is given. It presents an idea about the various elements of a data storage hierarchy and then discusses the various types of files. Sequential file stores and accesses the records in a serial order, while the indexed files use the help of index to locate a particular file. Hash system uses an algorithm to map the records to storage locations with reduced number of collision and clustering. This module also gives some details about the role of operating system in creating and maintaining files in the system. It uses a set of programs called File Management System or FMS for this purpose. This module concludes by referring to the various methods of implementing files in a computer system with the help of the operating system. Before we conclude, please try to answer the following questions. Explain the data storage hierarchy. What is meant by the file-oriented approach? What are the different types of files supported by the file management system? Briefly explain the sequential file structure. List out the merits and demerits of indexed files. Explain the technique used in hash file system. What is the importance of operating system in file management? Books for your reference: J. Glenn Brookshire, Computer Science An Overview, 10th edition, Addison Wesley. A. Silberschatz, H. F. Koth, S. Sudarshan, Database System Concepts, 5th edition, McGraw-Hill. Hope you enjoy this session. See you next time. Until then, bye.